up, everybody? Welcome back to the 31 Days of Horror. I am your host, Mood616, and thank you once again for stopping in, guys. Yes, day 12 is here on the Volume 3, 31 Days of Horror, and we're going to take it all the way back to 1953 with a film from Mexico. And it's one that I've actually seen bits and pieces of. I popped this in, I think last year or something like that, and I popped it in real late at night and fell asleep, so I never finished it. So I wanted to go back and revisit this one, and why not do it during the 31 Days of Horror? Film in question here is called Monster. I think the Spanish title for it is El Monstro Resurrecte, or something like that. I don't know, something rather. But if you're gonna go look this one up on IMDb, it does not come up as this title. Wow, I can't talk. But yeah, getting into the synopsis of this film. Basically, this one follows your main character, Nora. She's a reporter and she's very, very bored at the present moment. No big stories. So she has a meeting with her editor, and her editor sees this advertisement in this paper. This very mysterious advertisement. He's like, well, there's your story right there. Why don't you go and investigate this? So she meets up with the guy that put the ad in the paper. His name is Dr. Ling. And she goes to his big castle. And he immediately falls in love with her beauty, and basically what happens is he kind of confides to her. He kind of announces his love for her and things like that. And she's kind of digging it and stuff like that. The thing is, he wears he's got this kind of mask on and stuff. His love for her is so deep already that he actually basically shows his face off. He believes that he can trust Nora at this point. And he shows off his face that he was born hideously deformed from, birth and things like that. And he also announces his plans. So, which kind of scares her off a little bit. And so she kind of leaves there and things like that. And now he's feeling a little bit paranoid that she is not, into him and she might leave him. And so what he does, he goes all mad scientist. Which, because he is a doctor, he's a surgeon, he goes all mad scientist and he resurrects this recently deceased person, puts a brand new brain in there, and for the sole purpose of nabbing up Nora to bring her back to the castle and kill her. Yeah, so that's the synopsis of the film. Now my thoughts on this one? Now this film right here is definitely very influenced by Universal Pictures. I mean, given that synopsis right there, it kind of screams Frankenstein a little bit. It does have its own feet to stand on, though. I mean, it changes up a little bit. The doctor in this one, he's deformed, and he's maybe got a revenge plot and things like that. So there is, its own little narrative to, separate itself from the Universal Pictures. But with that said, it feels like a Universal picture too. It's very dark in atmosphere, and it's shot on these very odd sets, and it has the standees, and you can just tell they're shot on sets. But I really like the location and the sets that they used in this, though. Pretty cool stuff. I like the story. I like this story actually quite a lot. I'm a big fan of mad scientist films. I like the fact that this guy is, deformed, and then he's resurrecting people and, putting brains into people and things like that. And I also like how he controls this zombie. He uses telepathic powers in a sense. He can talk to this zombie and tell him what to say, because he's trying to, basically kind of seduce Nora to, come back to the castle and things like that. So I like that whole premise. It's actually really cool. My biggest complaint with this movie has got to be the simple fact that it is very dialogue heavy. Very, very heavy in dialogue. I mean, these characters wear their hearts on their sleeves completely. I mean, Nora's constantly, she's talking about everything. Dr. Ling is talking about everything. And it's just but there's really, really long scenes of dialogue where, it can get it almost comes off a little pretentious. You're like, man, you don't really have to have that much dialogue. Some of the stuff is unnecessary. Kind of get to the point. I wish they had to cut down those scenes a little bit and thrown in a little bit more, scary scenes, a little bit more suspense, get back to the, the set pieces and stuff. Because there's a lot of scenes in this film where Nora's meeting with her editor at this coffee shop, and it's kind of that setting. And they just go on way too long. That's my biggest problem with this film. It runs about 80 minutes, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. I just wish they had thrown a little bit more stuff in there. And like all Universal movies, most of those films, they present themselves, and they always have that same structure. It kind of keeps going in the narrative, and then it just wraps itself up within 5 or 10 minutes, or 5 minutes of the last, end of the film. that's kind of what it does with this one too. It's a very predictable film. You pretty much know where it's going. There's also a subplot involving, you know, the zombie, the good-looking zombie, who's actually not like quite a zombie. Like, he talks completely normal, he looks completely normal, he's just being controlled telepathically by Dr. Ling. But there's kind of like this sub-story where, you know, they might be falling in love and stuff like that. I really didn't buy into that at all in the film, because the way it presents itself, she almost feels like, in my opinion, she comes off like she's a little bit scared of him, and all of a sudden then she's in love. I don't know. Be your own judgments. But yeah, Monster from 1953. Pretty decent film, actually. I really enjoyed this one. It's a perfect film to watch late at night. You know, I watched this one, shit, man, I don't know, I started at 12 at night last night, so 1:30 I was done, kind of thing. I thought it was pretty cool, man. If you're a big fan of Universal films, give this one a shot. I mean, there's a lot of great Mexican gems that came out in the 50s, like tons and tons, that I never hear people talk about. This is definitely one of them, and I'm glad that I, you know, took the chance on this one. So, yeah, if I had to rate this one, I'm going to come in about a 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, man. I just wish they had to cut down some of the dialogue, because that was just too much, man. It's like beating hearts on the sleeve, man. It was like a little bit, but yeah, Monster from 1953. Give that one a shot. It is subtitled, so you are going to have to read it, and there's a lot of reading in it too. So you have been warned. That is going to conclude day 12 here on the 31 Days of Horror Volume 3. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.